Hello, Chillify, I'm ready. Transmigrated as Nanny Mae, earning more than a director, it's me, Nanny Mae, reluctantly back for part 2. After the female lead faked her death and fled abroad, my job truly became easy, well-paid, and utterly relaxed. At this point, I felt incredibly happy, eating, resting, relaxing, and enjoying life. But before I could fully savor those peaceful days, CEO Ethan dragged me along. He pulled me into a party to identify the female lead. "Is that Mrs. Gu?" he asked. I hesitated. "Young master," she said she isn't. Besides, her hair is short while Mrs. Gu's was long. Mrs. Gu didn't have a mole near her eye, but she does. The voices of 4 adorable genius babies surrounding the female lead rang out, "Mommy, mommy." I looked at the children's faces, which strikingly resembled CEO Ethan's, and sank into thought. At the same moment, a long-lost system notification suddenly sounded. "Congratulations, host, you have unlocked the second storyline. The white moonlight has returned with 4 adorable genius babies. Watch as the tyrannical CEO spoils her rotten." When the system sound rang, my whole body went numb. My dear friends, I had just retired for 4 years. That was the glorious peak of my career, my physical and mental retirement period. I should have been lounging on a massage chair, enjoying my high-paying retirement, but accidentally, Serena, who was supposed to be dead, came back. I'll have to return to being Nanny Mae, the diligent, salaried worker I used to be. Woe is me. At this moment, Ethan Gu looked at the 4 children, his face even paler than mine. Serena, whose bastards are these children? Serena, or rather Zoe, as I should call her, now tilted her head and gave Ethan Gu a half-smile. "Firstly, my name is not Serena, it's Zoe. Secondly, these children are all my precious darlings. Thirdly, who their father is none of your concern. If you mention it again, I'll make you regret it." Just then, the nearby party staff excitedly rushed over to watch. "Do you know how I've lived these past years?" Ethan Gu suddenly yelled. "Sir, please be careful with your tone and don't scare the children." Zoe hugged the 4 3-and-a-half-year-old children behind her, as if fearing Ethan Gu would frighten them. Tell me quickly." Ethan Gu shook Zoe's shoulders, saying, "Tell me you still love me." I stood frozen, watching the 2 of them, cursing nonstop in my heart. Why are these 2 still playing the same games from 4 years ago? CEO Ethan's 2 secretaries, Mia and Lily, skillfully handed me 2 large megaphones. I took the one in my right hand and shouted into Ethan Gu's ear, "Young master, the baby is yours. Young master, the baby is yours. Young master, look, he looks exactly like you. This child is yours." Then I took the megaphone in my left hand, put it to Zoe's ear, and yelled, "Quickly, say the baby is his. Quickly, say the baby is his. Say quickly that the mole was drawn on, the hair was cut short." You're not Zoe, you're Serena? But the male and female leads always treated me like air. Now, even the crowd surrounding them to propel the plot forward treated me like air. They essentially couldn't hear anything I said. I put the 2 megaphones down, took a cup from Mia, and chugged some tea. The 3 of us looked at each other in despair and helplessness. "Oh well, let's just continue enjoying the drama." Ethan Gu continued his tyrannical rant. "Serena, you must be truly insane to treat me like this. You got pregnant with my child and insisted on an abortion, yet you gave birth to 4 children for some random guy?" I stared, then told Ethan Gu, "Young master, Mrs. Gu had an ectopic pregnancy. It couldn't be saved. She didn't want to abort it." The tyrannical CEO, who never listened to me, suddenly stopped. He gave a sinister laugh, mixed with disdain and indifference. "Nanny Mae, if you hadn't said anything, I would have almost forgot. If you didn't wipe the floors every day, making them so slippery, how could Mrs. Gu have miscarried? I've held on to that for 4 years. Young master's memory is truly impressive," I said sarcastically. Then, suppressing the urge to hit Ethan Gu, I deftly pulled out my phone and played a video that had been played 99 times for him. It showed the undeniable truth. Serena had fallen down the stairs herself, and I hadn't even cleaned that far down yet. Ethan Gu furrowed his brow, then retorted imperiously, "Nanny Mae, how many times have you shown me this? Can't you update me with other videos of Serena?" After saying this, he raised his hand, intending to smash my phone. I protected my phone, twisting my body and escaping from under his arm. "He'll have it instantly." I lightly tapped the 360-degree, no-dead-angle cameras on both my shoulders. The chase for his wife continued. I sat nearby, enjoying afternoon tea and champagne, watching the drama unfold with all the guests at the party. CEO Ethan Gu told Serena, "I don't care, Serena. Today you must come back with me. You know what happens when you anger me, little girl. I only have 1 minute of patience. If you anger me, it won't end well." I couldn't help but break into a cold sweat because of CEO Ethan Gu. Did he really think Serena was still the same easily bullied Serena from before? No. Now she had 4 incredibly formidable 3.5-year-old geniuses. Zoe, little 1, little 2, little 3, little 4. These adorable genius babies never disappointed me. When they saw Ethan Gu grabbing their mother again, a powerful little one grabbed Ethan Gu's pants and flung him across the room. Ethan, are you okay? Seeing this, Vivian, Ethan Gu's malicious childhood friend, quickly hiked up her skirt and walking on her super high heels, ran to check on him. CEO Ethan Gu lay on his back, forming an X shape, looking at the powerful little one. He then displayed his usual characteristic smile, 3 parts sarcastic, 3 parts indifferent, 3 parts cold, and 1 part anger. Well done, little brat. If you wanted to provoke me, you've succeeded. I suddenly choked on my cake. Little 4, what does mommy usually teach you? To control yourself and not act impulsively. Serena knelt down, speaking softly to little 4, who looked exactly like Ethan Gu. Then she looked at Ethan Gu. I'm sorry, sir. My child is only 3.5, but he's already the world's #1 boxing champion. He just defeated Tyson and won the title of world's #1 boxing champion. Looking at little 4's small, sprout-like body, even though I knew this was the author's setting for adorable genius babies, I still couldn't help but laugh. My God, his mom defeated Tyson and became the new boxing champion. The author really dares to write anything. Little 4, who had defeated Tyson, gave me a cold glance and whispered, Nanny Mae, do you seem to have an opinion about me? I quickly explained, No, not at all. I was afraid that in this world-defying tyrannical CEO novel, with the author's creativity, I'd be punched out in a single note by boxing champion little 4. Boxing champion little 4, wearing a certain tracksuit, asked me who was trembling, So, Nanny Mae, what are you laughing at? Do you want to get beat? Serena glanced at me, then pulled little 4 aside. Don't be rude to Nanny Mae. But she was laughing at me. I quickly explained, No, that's not it, little brother. Listen to Nanny Mae explain. I was born with a smiling face and a habit of smiling, especially when I see such a talented child for the first time. There's no ill will, it's a smile of genuine appreciation and sincere admiration from the bottom of my heart. Serena looked at me, then at little 4, a triumphant expression on her face. It's been a long time since I've seen Nanny Mae smile so happily. My 4 children already know how to protect their mom. They're so good. Serena's words soothed boxing champion little 4's anger, but caused the wicked female antagonist next to me to explode. Vivian, standing aside, saw me laughing and immediately raised an eyebrow to ask, Nanny Mae, Mr. Gu fell like this and you haven't even helped him up. And you have the audacity to laugh? I covered my mouth, struggling to suppress my laughter. I'm sorry, I've had special training. I normally can't laugh unless I can't hold it in. Nanny Zhang, Vivian's nanny, immediately winked frantically at me and gestured for me not to provoke her. How could I possibly understand all her intentions in such a short time? But soon after, when Vivian stood up and started frantically smashing things, I realized something was wrong. Nanny Zhang's face was desperate as she held her forehead and muttered, Here we go again. She followed Vivian, pulling out her phone and opening a calculator to tally the number and price of the things Vivian had broken. The action was heartbreakingly skillful. Seeing Vivian about to throw things my way, I quickly stood up and pretended to rush over to check on the tyrannical CEO's injuries. Seeing his misfortune, I put on an expression of extreme pain. This is the first time I've seen the young master in such a difficult situation. Immediately, Ethan Gu's face darkened. The people around also covered their mouths, laughing. No, what I mean is the young master is too kind. A man 1.8 meters tall was defeated by a kid less than 1.2 meters tall. It's clearly because the young master was going easy on him. But before my words finished, boxing champion little 4 and the tyrannical CEO spoke at the same time. Boxing champion little 4, I am 1.25 meters tall. Tyrannical CEO, I am 1.85 meters tall. Ethan Gu's face turned black as he corrected me. 1.85 meters. Nanny Mae, how many times have I told you? I'm exactly 1.85 meters tall. With dress shoes, 1.87 meters. With sneakers, 1.88 meters. And with slippers, it varies from 1.865 to 1.87 meters. Boxing champion little 4, just like Ethan Gu, corrected me. 1.25 meters. Nanny Mae, you must remember carefully. My standard height is 1.25 meters. With dress shoes, 1.27 meters. With sneakers, 1.28 meters. With slippers, it's 1.256 to 1.263 meters. I'm 3 cm taller than my eldest brother, 22.5 cm taller than my second brother, and 32 cm taller than my third brother. Hearing this, Hacker Little 1, wearing a plaid shirt similar to Ethan Gu's, Actor Little 2, fashionably dressed with sunglasses and a mask just like Ethan Gu, and venture capitalist Little 3, wearing a suit very similar to Ethan Gu's, immediately went wild. Hacker Little 1 raised an eyebrow and corrected. Nanny Mae, let me explain a bit. My height is 1.22 meters. I rarely wear dress shoes for professional reasons, only for certificate photos. I use calipers to measure the sole of my dress shoes, which is 2.356 cm, rounded to 2.36 cm. So when I wear dress shoes, I'm 1.2461 meters tall. For sneakers, the sole must be a standard 3 cm, so when I wear sneakers, I'm 1.2625 meters tall. Slipper soles are 2.31 cm, so when I wear slippers, I'm 1.2456 meters tall. Little 4 is only 1.75 cm taller than me. If Little 4 still slanders me, I will hack into his club's internal membership information and change his height to 50 cm? I was stunned. What? You even use calipers to measure shoe soles? Hacker Little 1 gave a sinister smile. Just being careful. You have to speak with evidence. Actor Little 2 curled his lip and corrected. Nanny Mae, I'll also tell you clearly. My actual height is 122.5 cm. For professional reasons, I have to wear platform shoes. With dress shoes, I'm 1.35 meters. With sneakers, 1.36 meters. And with high-top slippers, 1.3 meters. So, overall, I'm 11 cm taller than Little 4. If Little 4 slanders me again, I will ask my film company to issue a lawyer's warning letter. My eyes fell on the platform sneakers on Actor Little 2's feet, identical to Ethan Gu's, expressing my understanding. After all, in the entertainment industry, exaggerating one's height is understandable. Venture capitalist Little 3 frowned and corrected. Nanny Mae, I'll only say this once. My height is 1.19 meters. For professional reasons, I only wear dress shoes. When I wear dress shoes, I'm 1.2562 meters tall. And with slippers, I wear the leather type, making me 1.2492 meters tall. In general, I'm only 0.18 to 1.38 cm taller than Little 4. If Little 4 still slanders me, I will propose that the Ministry of Justice prosecute him. My gaze lingered on the suit. The kid looked exactly like the CEO when he wore a tie. I smiled and nodded. The 5 eccentric men chorused. Nanny Mae, have you memorized my height? I remember. 100%, I'm your mother, I smiled. It's all recorded. At this moment, these numbers felt so alien to me. I couldn't handle the eccentric father like Ethan Gu, and now 4 more eccentric sons. The apocalypse is coming. I can't live this life anymore. My newly manicured hands flew across my phone's keyboard, furiously typing expletives into the employee chat group. The Gu family drama is back again. Chapter 1 of Part 2, The White Moonlight returns to China. New chapter updated. All NPCs to your positions, ready to work? After the party ended, messages in the group chat reached 99+. Everyone in the group was wailing. Driver Leo. Does anyone understand? After the party, the tyrannical CEO told me to chase after and pick up Mrs. Gu. I drove about 15 laps at 150 km/h, but I still couldn't keep up with a 3.5-year-old child's speed. Driver Leo. Eventually, what stopped me was the police chasing behind me. They honked and said I was speeding. That's when it finally ended. Secretary Zhang, why did traffic police ticket you for speeding, but not stop the 3-year-old racing at midnight? Accountant Wu, maybe it's because he was too short. The traffic police couldn't see him and thought it was a driverless car. A 3.5-year-old is at most less than a meter tall. After a long silence, I corrected. Little 1, 1.22 m, Little 2, 1.225 m, Little 3, 1.19 m, Little 4, 1.25 m. This is the surveillance video. Everyone, listen carefully and remember it. It will be useful at critical moments. About 5 minutes passed. Accountant Wu, damn it, I feel like I don't know these numbers at all. Indeed, every man has a mysterious obsession with height. Special Assistant Zhang, 4 adorable 3.5-year-old babies, but they're so tall. Is that normal? Dr. Chu. Secretary Zhang, sometimes I want to suggest that the tyrannical CEO gets his eyes checked. They look exactly like him, and their personalities are identical, yet he can't recognize them as his own flesh and blood. Driver Leo, Nanny Mae, you've suffered so much? Dr. Chu still hadn't replied after a long time. Everyone wanted to at Dr. Chu to express his opinion, but there was no response. I replied on behalf of Dr. Chu. He doesn't have time. The tyrannical CEO ordered him to complete DNA tests with the 4 kids within 1 minute, in a situation where there isn't a single hair or strand of fur. Everyone was silent. One looked alike, one looked identical, one looked exactly the same, and one looked very similar. They were practically cast from the same mold. And they still wanted DNA tests to prove whose children they were? He's mentally ill. Sometimes I feel out of place because my eyesight is different from theirs. The group was silent for another 5 minutes. After a while, it started up again. Special assistant, damn it. The crazy boss made me find out the detailed identity and biological father of the 4 children within 3 minutes. I'm a special assistant, not a spy. Accountant Wu. The jerk boss demanded that within 10 minutes, I give him a full statement of all the money Mrs. Gu spent abroad over the years, and at the same time, list all expenses, sources of expenses, and assets registered under the biological father of the 4 kids. I'm an accountant, not a god. Driver Leo. The psychotic boss ordered me to find out the detailed information of a car's license plate within 1 minute. The result was that the license plate was fake, so now where am I supposed to check? Then he made me go through all the fake license plates in the entire city to find specific information about this car. I'm a driver, not a traffic cop. Just as I was about to comfort them, the doorbell rang. The tyrannical CEO was home. I am a nanny and a golden mediator. Goodbye, family. Tonight I'm heading out to sea, don't worry about me, I'm with the Gu couple. During the day I had 2 secretaries to help me, but at night I was on duty alone, which was horrible. For the past few years, working night shifts was easy, I just had to sleep. But tonight was different. The tyrannical CEO had just been discharged from the hospital with a cast, so I had to go chat with him. The tyrannical CEO bowed his head, his eyes red. Nanny Mae, I'm a fool. I immediately patted his head and sang along. You once had deep and shallow thoughts of love in your heart, but never spoke a word, overlooked past grudges, and never tired, going back and forth, then changing, shattering into pieces. The song ended, and Ethan Gu completely broke down. Nanny Mae, tell me, is she really not Serena? If not, how did she know you haven't smiled in a long time since she left? Are you crazy? When she was around, I couldn't smile like that. Because I always maintained a grim expression, only smiling when I saw you getting beaten, I said honestly. Tyrannical CEO, let's put this aside. How did she know you were Nanny Mae? Because I have my work badge. I pointed to the name tag on my nanny uniform. It clearly stated the 2 words, Nanny Mae. Ethan Gu was silent, then added, but she is Serena, isn't she? How can there be 2 people so alike in this world? Even if she isn't, as long as she's willing to be Serena's substitute, I can accept those 4 children, even if they're someone else's. Even if she doesn't want a divorce, I'm willing to share her with others. You're insane. Open your eyes and look. You must be blind. You should be able to see that Zoe and Serena are identical. You say your eyesight is good, yet you can't see the 4 adorable children who look exactly like miniature versions of you. You're a lunatic. You're blind. I was almost dead with sleepiness, so I just sighed and said nothing. Nanny Mae, why aren't you talking? Ethan Gu was a little annoyed. Every day you exude a deathly aura, looking lifeless like a corpse, not a single sound. I opened my eyes, regained my senses, then reached into the pocket of my northeast floral jacket and commented, then you're truly a cuck. Ethan Gu frowned and thought. What do you mean, cuckold? I summarized it succinctly. Cuck is a term for a husband who desires his wife to have relations with others in front of him. Ethan Gu was furious. Nanny Mae, your words are a bit foolish. My salary this month. He intended to threaten me, but he knew things were different now. I was the boss of a properly registered company. If he dared to deduct my salary or performance bonus, I would leave immediately. Then he suddenly thought of something and gave a smug smile. I was going to double your salary this month, but now it's gone. What? I instantly sobered up, asking him suspiciously. The tyrannical CEO smiled triumphantly, seemingly pleased with my reaction. Then, with nothing to do, he pulled out his phone and started calculating losses with me, who was desperate and full of regret. Nanny Mae, don't bother me. I didn't say anything. Your breathing annoys me. Even though the tyrannical CEO was busy, he kept talking while smoothing out the fabric in my hand. I was so bored I couldn't say a word. I stood in the corner with my arms crossed, stamping my feet slightly in annoyance, letting the tyrannical CEO guess. I had expected a quiet and emotional night, but because of the female lead Serena's phone call, the night's peace was completely shattered. Serena no longer cared about pretending to be Zoe. She was crying so hard she could barely breathe. Little one's finger is scratched. It's very urgent. What should I do, Ethan? He has Rh-negative blood. Think of a quick solution. At this moment, Ethan Gu no longer cared whose child little one was. He immediately summoned us for an emergency meeting, preparing to be a hero, saving the beauty and displaying his tyrannical style. Secretary Zhang concisely emphasized the first topic of the meeting. A group of NPCs we stayed up all night gathered here to discuss an emergency first aid plan for little one, the son of former Mrs. Gu, Serena. The child's index finger was cut by a small knife, so a few drops of blood flowed. Everyone can propose their own plans and the most practical solutions. Director Gu will give generous rewards. The multimedia projector in the villa's meeting room showed a picture of little one's injured and bleeding finger. The skin cut by the small knife was already almost healed. I raised my hand and said, "Director Gu, I think Serena is just trying to get your attention. I just looked at the picture, and little one's hand only has a superficial wound. I don't think we need to mobilize the army and the people like this." Ethan Gu's phoenix eyes widened in disbelief as he looked at me. "Nanny Mae, you are truly ruthless. Little one has a scraped finger, not to mention he's just a baby. Nanny Mae, your triple performance bonus has been cancelled." "Fine, you crazy husband. If I don't say anything, that's fine, right?" Ethan Gu looked at me sullenly and said with dissatisfaction, "Nanny Mae, do you have any objections? What you lose is just a triple performance bonus, but what little one loses is a tiny piece of skin." Accountant Wu, next to me, immediately raised his hand to resolve the matter. "Boss Gu, I think we must seriously address this and make a decision immediately. Otherwise, the young master's wound will heal soon." The tyrannical CEO Ethan Gu said, "That's right, little Wu. Your salary this month will be tripled." Accountant Wu smiled and nodded repeatedly like a flatterer. I was not convinced. I immediately grabbed the microphone and began to express my views. "I agree with Accountant Wu, but at the same time, I believe we should establish an emergency plan as soon as possible. Develop a stability control plan for key personnel, arrange specialized personnel focused on supervision, establish a ledger, and daily stability control responsibilities. Boss Gu's responsibility is to arrange 5 cars with fixed license plates to respond to the 4 children and Mrs. Gu, in case anything goes wrong. As soon as Mrs. Gu runs, we can immediately catch her. Ah no, immediately intercept her." Ethan Gu was very satisfied after hearing this. "Nanny Mae is absolutely right. A meticulous, perfect, systematic plan. Your performance bonus this month will be quadrupled." I displayed the classic Nanny Mae triumphant smile, like when I guarded the warehouse. When the previously silent people saw this, they eagerly started proposing plans, which were nothing more than writing reports, looking back to self-check, promptly discovering and rectifying problems, improving and perfecting, and resolutely eliminating potential hidden dangers of Mrs. Gu running away again. I believe a family doctor system should be implemented, and the development of the Gu family's health should be strengthened. Boss Gu needs to focus on the concept of the children's health, strengthen investment in the family medical fund to ensure a home treatment system, and at the same time, interdepartmental coordination should be implemented to improve treatment methods. Emphasize family doctors, nannies, accountants, drivers, security guards, special assistants, secretaries. When evaluating work performance, the satisfaction and verbal praise from Boss Gu, Mrs. Gu, and the 4 children will be considered bonus points to encourage everyone to invest in the family business. Boss Ethan Gu nodded continuously and applauded, awarding triple performance points and double salary. "Secretary Zhang, did you record everything? You must remember the production plan clearly." Secretary Zhang held the recording pen, swaying back and forth, with a desperate expression on her face. As the meeting was about to end, a solution needed to be provided, adhering to the principle of not wasting a single minute or second. The tyrannical CEO immediately issued a decisive order. "Secretary Zhang, contact the helicopter pilot immediately and tell them to be here in 30 seconds. By the way, I'll give you another 30 seconds to connect with the hospital's rooftop helipad to ensure the pilot can land safely." Secretary Zhang's pupils trembled like an earthquake. "What?" The tyrannical CEO then looked at the special assistant next to him. Special Assistant Zheng, within 3 minutes, stop all ground and air traffic to make way for me. At the same time, ensure all traffic lights are green and unobstructed. Special Assistant Zheng was stunned, pointing at herself. Oh, then the tyrannical CEO called Little Chu, who was on duty at the hospital. Dr. Chu, I'm giving you 3 minutes to contact everyone who has registered for Rh-negative blood in the city's blood bank. Each person will donate 400 cc to be reserved blood for my little one. I heard Dr. Chu's desperate voice on the other end of the phone. I think the probability of me catching a panda and incidentally killing Tripitaka and his disciples is higher than this. The tyrannical CEO added, I'll send Driver Leo to assist you. Then he turned to Driver Leo, saying arrogantly without explanation, 1 minute is enough for you to drag everyone with Rh-negative blood in the city to the hospital. Driver Leo, what do you think? Driver Leo shook his head, a troubled expression on his face. Boss Gu, I think perhaps the time isn't enough. The boss was both cold and tyrannical. I don't need you to think anything. As long as I think it's enough, that's what matters. Then he looked at me, who was looking up at the ceiling, shaking my head and humming a tune, trying to avoid his gaze. It seemed like I was pretending to be busy, but was actually just slacking off. Nanny Mae, I'm now ordering you to clean up the 4 children's rooms within 3 minutes. The first room should be in a minimalist blue ocean style. The second room should be in a dreamy star-filled forest style. The third room should be in a European Baroque palace style. And the fourth room should be in a cheerful, sunny cream color style. Originally, the cut on little one's hand wasn't a serious problem, but the tyrannical CEO insisted on staying in the VIP area and ICU for about half a month, while also giving little one a full body checkup. At the same time, Dr. Chu also performed some DNA tests between the tyrannical CEO and the 4 children. It is said that the moment the DNA test results came out, the tyrannical CEO almost shed tears. I said, these children look like me. They look like they were cast from the same mold. Grandma Gu, upon hearing that she suddenly had 4 legitimate grandchildren, immediately put company matters aside and rushed to the hospital to visit them. Seeing Dr. Chu send a photo of the happy 8-person family, all of us breathed a sigh of relief. In ancient times, the elderly always raised the young. Now that Serena had returned with 4 children, there was a high probability she would marry into the wealthy family. Grandma Gu and Director Gu added a decorating budget and asked me to quickly clean the children's rooms. Everything had to be the most expensive. I enjoyed my free time, directing the furniture company to decorate the children's rooms at home, while eating melon seeds and calculating how much commission I could get. Jane sent me a WeChat message. Little Nanny, I heard Ethan Gu suddenly has 4 adorable, talented children. News about the tyrannical CEO recognizing his family is everywhere. Is it real or fake? I said. It's real. I bet this news definitely didn't come from Director Gu or Grandma Gu. After all, Serena doesn't have a recognized status yet, and speaking out directly would affect the Gu family corporation. It must have been hacker little one. But it's strange. Why is there so much news filling the newspapers, yet the Gu family stock is still rising, not falling? It must have been venture capitalist Little 3 doing it, I said firmly. After all, in all the books with adorable babies, the baby's role is to bring the parents back together, and all difficulties will naturally be resolved by these babies. It's truly amazing that at just 3.5 years old, they're already world famous, Jane exclaimed. After exclaiming for a while, she reminded me, don't forget this Friday, we're meeting with world-class hunters to discuss cooperation. You forgot last time, but you can't forget this time. Okay, this time I'll definitely remember. I wrote the itinerary in my notebook. When CEO Ethan and Serena returned, I and my hardworking colleagues held up a banner with desperate expressions. On the banner was written, "Congratulations to Boss Gu and his wife on returning home with their little darlings." They entered the room and prepared to change their shoes. Mia squatted down, following CEO Ethan's steps, seizing the opportune moment to grab his shoes, successfully removing both of them. Lily, on the other side, also squatted down, ready to take off Serena's shoes, but little one, distracted, ran and bumped into Serena, making her fall straight to the floor. Lily broke out in a cold sweat. In that moment of panic, CEO Ethan quickly turned, embraced Serena, and spun her around a few times. Serena clutched Ethan Gu's shoulders. "Ethan?" The tyrannical CEO looked at her tenderly. "Serena." The tyrannical CEO said again, "Call me husband and I'll give you my life." "Husband, my love," Serena said bashfully. The 4 adorable babies stood in a line, looked at each other, smiled triumphantly, and gave little one a thumbs up. We, the group of diligent employees, looked at each other in silence, but our mouths twitched continuously. At the same time, driver Leo and special assistant Zheng brought flower baskets downstairs via the assembled mobile pulley system. Secretary Zheng and I stood upstairs, sprinkling beautiful and romantic flower petals like an idle drama. The tyrannical CEO embraced Serena and spun her around about 99 times, stopping at the same point as last time. By now, the flowers on the peach tree were almost completely picked bare by us, and my hands were cramping. When the 4 adorable babies were changing their shoes, they stood in a line and looked at me. Today, the 4 of them were dressed identically, wearing shirts with long pants and dress shoes like miniature statues of Ethan Gu produced on an assembly line. One of them looked at me indifferently and said, "Nanny Mae, last time I told you our heights. Now I'll test if you can tell us apart. Don't bully Nanny Mae." At this moment, Serena, now trying to be a good person, tried to stop them. I reached out and blocked Serena, then took a tape measure from the small pouch on my waist. "I can do it." I grabbed the first child, used the tape measure to measure his height. 1.22 meters, your little one. Then I bent down, took a caliper from my pocket, measured each shoe sole, and handed him a pair of slippers. "Little one, these are your slippers. The sole is 2.36 cm. Hacker Little One revealed a smile of appreciation. "Nanny Mae, my dad values you so much, you clearly have some capability." I grabbed the second child and estimated with the tape measure. 1.19 meters. "Little 3, you've grown taller." Hearing my words, a rare surprised smile appeared on Little 3's face. "Really? I really grew taller?" "It's true, you've grown 0.01 cm taller." Then I handed him the leather slippers I had prepared. Dr. Chu, standing nearby, had a darkened face. "It's all excessive nutrition. It would be strange if they didn't grow taller." Venture capitalist Little 3 took out a performance evaluation form and gave me full marks. I handled the next 2 little treasures smoothly as well. Actor Little 2 stood out like a crane among chickens because of his platform shoes, a head taller than the other kids, making him very easy to distinguish. 1.225 meters. "Little 2, these are your platform slippers." I handed Actor Little 2 10 cm flat-soled slippers. Actor Little 2 gave a sinister laugh. "Very good, Nanny Mae, you have my attention. 1.25 meters. Little 4, these shoe soles are 1.1 cm, soft and comfortable." Boxing champion Little 4 glanced at me, smiling. "Nanny Mae, it seems you care a lot about us. You've done very well." I patted my chest. "As long as there's money, anything can be done." Mia and Lily on the other side looked at me with admiring eyes. "Nanny Mae, you are our god." After the welcoming ceremony, all the employees went home. The tyrannical CEO said he wanted to eat out. I immediately presented him with 2 plans. 1, a Western restaurant in the east of the city, and 2, a newly opened Thai restaurant in the west. The tyrannical CEO looked at the photos and casually pointed. "Have the Thai restaurant make this Western restaurant's tomahawk steak. Later, we'll eat Thai food." "They're not the same restaurant." "Then let them merge," the tyrannical CEO said imperiously. Damn it. Finally, Chairman Gu, Ethan Gu's father, ended the acquisition farce with one sentence: "Eat healthy at home to save the Gu family's employees from working overtime." As soon as Chairman Gu opened his mouth, Nanny Mae's legs gave out from exhaustion. Normally, Ethan Gu didn't eat at home, so I was happy and free. But today, I had to cook a meal for an 8-person family, no, a 9-person family. This meal almost killed all 3 of us. Because the 4 darlings had to go to school tomorrow, Mia and Lily quickly went to heat milk and make bread for them, then put them to bed. Because Grandpa Gu and Grandma Gu were very particular about food and highly praised it, preparing this meal was a headache, and I felt a bit helpless. The wicked female antagonist Vivian also came to dinner at Grandma Gu's invitation. She deliberately went into the kitchen to help me, demonstrating her virtuousness, but I knew she had no good intentions. Sure enough, she closed the kitchen door and secretly took a packet of powder from her shirt, preparing to put it into Serena's bowl. "Heh, then I'll frame Nanny Mae. After all, this meal was made by her. No one will suspect me. Serena, go to hell, heh." Cough, cough, I coughed twice behind her. Vivian was startled. It was only then that she realized I had been standing behind her all along. Without waiting for her to make excuses, I retorted. I lightly tapped the 2 screens worn on my shoulders and touched the 360-degree, no dead-angle camera on my head. Every word you say will become evidence in court. Vivian gasped, then quickly poured the contents of the bowl into the sink to destroy it. At dinner time, Chairman Gu, wearing an elegant shirt, sat in the middle of the dining table. Grandma Gu sat on one side, and Vivian sat on Grandma Gu's left, looking happy and harmonious, just like a family. Serena and I looked at each other, then sat at the small kitchen table to eat. Serena felt aggrieved, her eyes red as if she had been wronged. I don't deserve to sit at the dining table. I can only sit in the kitchen and eat like you. I was chewing noisily with my mouth full of oil. Hearing this, I didn't care, took a napkin from beside me, wiped my mouth, and tilted my chin towards the tyrannical CEO Ethan Gu. Look on the bright side. At least you can still sit. Serena looked out and saw only the tyrannical CEO Ethan Gu standing in the corner with his hands behind his back. The tyrannical CEO couldn't sit at the dining table. It was said to be a tradition of the Gu family. The dining table could only have two people, Grandpa Gu and Grandma Gu, at most with honored guests. The sons had to stand by and serve. After dinner, Serena looked at Ethan Gu, feeling his injustice, her heart aching. After eating, I cleared my dishes and went into the dining room, ready to serve the eccentric old couple at any moment. I stood next to Ethan Gu, but my posture was different. He bowed his head, hands behind his back, while I stood with my arms crossed over my stomach, looking bored. At this moment, Grandpa Gu picked a corn kernel onto Grandma Gu's plate. Wife, try this corn kernel. This is not ordinary corn. It has absorbed the essence of heaven and earth from a seed that slowly grew and matured, then turned yellow, and finally became a towering corn stalk, after all the hard work of diligent people like Nanny Mae. I stood aside, eyes wide, suddenly being called out, so I just wanted to growl, scream, and crawl into the darkness. This pretentious man, what about people like me? What's wrong with living by the sweat of your brow? Chairman Gu on the other side paid no attention to my gradually distorting face. He was still showing off his elegance. This small corn kernel is nothing, but when combined with sugar water, it becomes a delicious dish with a wonderful flavor. Vivian yawned, seemingly about to fall asleep, her empty stomach rumbling softly, calling Grandma Gu's name. Hearing this, Grandma Gu closed her eyes and smiled, spearing the corn kernels with a fork, placing them under the light, and musing, "It's like the popcorn we ate when we were young. It's a small corn kernel, but it can bloom into such a big flower. I think it has great energy." Peeling off layer after layer of its outer husks, then blanching it in 100 deg C boiling water, cooking it, and coating it with sugar only, then can it become an excellent corn kernel. Chairman Gu nodded, quite agreeing with his wife's excellent point of view. Yes, from a small seed to a large corn kernel, it certainly needs to go through many arduous processes. I think I also remember that Ethan was once like that, from a palm-sized baby to a muscular young man 1.8 meters tall like he is now. Ethan Gu, who had been quietly facing the wall, immediately corrected, 1.85 meters. Chairman Gu said thoughtfully, "You are 2 cm shorter than me. I am 1.87 meters. I almost couldn't hold back a piggy snort of laughter. Men's obsession with height is truly ingrained in their hearts. Suddenly hearing Ethan Gu speak, Chairman Gu showed a rare gentle smile and called him over. "Ethan, sit down." The tyrannical CEO Ethan Gu cautiously walked towards the dining table, looking completely different from his usual domineering and arrogant self. Grandma Gu, wearing an elegant black dress, picked a piece of food and brought it to Ethan Gu's mouth. "Today, you've brought Mother 4 big surprises. Quick, let Mother feed you." Ethan Gu seemed a little flustered as he swallowed the food. I yawned widely, leaning against the wall, squinting as I watched this family's performance. Chairman Gu picked up the chopsticks next to him and handed them to the tyrannical CEO, saying loudly, "Ethan, take the chopsticks and pick up a piece of meat to eat." Then Grandpa Gu pointed to a piece of moderately fatty meat on the plate. "Eat this one." Ethan Gu stopped, looked at the pork belly, then knelt on one knee, his gaze fixed on the table. After hesitating for a moment, he finally picked it up. Chairman Gu was very satisfied with his son's obedient actions. "Yes, excellent, you are my most obedient son." Seeing Ethan Gu about to eat the meat, Serena suddenly rushed out and knocked the meat off his chopsticks. Ethan, don't eat it. Fatty meat will make you vomit." "How presumptuous. You're not even a daughter-in-law of the Gu family, yet you're acting so unreasonably." Chairman Gu suddenly slammed the rice bowl in his hand onto the table, yelling furiously. The loud noise startled Vivian and me awake, and we rushed over to mediate, to prevent the war from escalating later, forcing me to deal with it again. Chairman Gu, Miss Serena didn't mean it that way. What she meant was that just now, you hadn't yet offered the young master food, which is why she rushed out to stop him. It's quite impolite for the young master to eat before you've offered him food. Miss Serena merely wanted to uphold the household rules. Chairman Gu suddenly smiled, picked up the chopsticks, and put the rice back into the bowl. Not bad, very obedient. But to be a daughter-in-law of this Gu family, you're still far from good enough. First, you must improve your literary quality, reaching the state where you see rice not as rice and food not as food. Vivian, who was yawning widely, was mesmerized by his words and immediately sat up straight. Uncle Gu, you're right, I agree. Chairman Gu revealed a satisfied smile. Serena looked at me gloomily, then rushed forward, continuing to defend the weak. I think you should update your family's educational philosophy. You're just using Ethan as a puppet to satisfy your desire for control. I frantically swayed left and right between them to prevent the fight and continuously winked at Serena, but Serena was not afraid of authority and immediately argued with her future father-in-law. Hearing this, the smile on Chairman Gu's face suddenly disappeared. With a clack, the rice in his hand suddenly slammed onto the table. I quickly tried to intercede. Chairman Gu, Miss Serena's point is that the young master cannot be your puppet alone. After joining the Gu family, she also wants to be your puppet. Then I frantically waved at Serena, then put my hands together, continuously pleading, "Don't anger him, don't anger him." Hearing my explanation, Chairman Gu looked pleased, picked up the chopsticks, and put the rice back into the bowl. Just in time. I'll have Secretary Zhang send you a total of 10 copies of our Gu family's training manual. You must memorize them within one day. I will test you at any time. Furthermore, if you have nothing to do, you should read more books. Don't always open your mouth and pretend to have no cultural background. This will bring shame to our Gu family. The Gu family is a prominent family, so we need to maintain our image. You eat a meal and only know how to say delicious. That's not good. If you do that again next time, it will lower our Gu family's cultural standing, just like last time when you said the minced meat was very delicious. That's minced meat. Don't you see the meaning behind the minced meat? Where did they evolve from, and how were they combined into such a wonderful dish? Don't you have any feelings at all? You are truly hopelessly illiterate. Your vocabulary is alarmingly deficient, truly losing your elegance. I don't know why Ethan fell in love with you. Damn it, pretentious people are the most annoying, Serena said angrily. What? Grandma Gu raised an eyebrow. Seeing Serena about to act, I pulled her close and pleaded, continuously bowing my head. Just ignore that old pretentious lunatic. Treat it as him farting. Otherwise, there will be another bloodbath. It's nothing, Miss Serena said she will definitely correct herself. I coaxed Grandma Gu. Grandma Gu said contentedly, furthermore, when eating, you must wait for us to eat first. You and Ethan are not allowed to sit at the table and can only stand in the corner. You are not allowed to eat before we call you. Regarding picking up food, our Gu family also has rules. You are not allowed to be picky. Eat whatever the elders tell you to eat. Serena couldn't hold back. Am I still young? I can't let you two pretentious old people bully me to death. You two have hurt Ethan for so many years, don't you feel guilty? Every time he eats, he doesn't dare to come to the table. For years, people have been slandering you two pretentious people behind your backs, do you know that? Do you know that your actions and rules over the years have forced Ethan to see a psychiatrist? I put my hand, which was trying to persuade Serena, down and closed my eyes in despair. Chairman Goose smiled charmingly, then casually unbuttoned his shirt and slowly rolled up his sleeves. Then he suddenly lifted the table. If you don't want to eat, then no one eats? Yes. Another mess to clean up. Oh no, fire, fire. Vivian quickly backed away and screamed. After the fragile candle fell to the ground, it ignited the tablecloth and started to burn. Seeing everyone in a panic, I rushed into the yard, connected the high-pressure water gun used for watering flowers to the tap, pulled it in, and aimed at the base of the flames. Then I evacuated everyone. Everyone, fall back. Retreat completely to the back of the living room. The living room was a mess. Grandpa Gu and Grandma Gu arrived in high spirits and left in low spirits. Ethan Gu accused Serena of disrespecting the elders before leaving. Grandma Gu grabbed Vivian's hand and said, "Good child, even if Ethan has 4 children, the ideal daughter-in-law in our hearts is still you. As long as you are willing, tomorrow I will let Ethan get the marriage certificate with you." Hearing this, Ethan Gu, standing nearby, immediately refused. "I don't want to marry her. I already have Serena and 4 children. Serena cried like a pear blossom covered in rain. It's not my fault. Chairman Gu looked proudly at Vivian. I ask you, do you want to be a daughter-in-law of the Gu family, Vivian? No, I should still give up. Vivian, who had just arrived, was fierce and wanted to poison Serena. Hearing this, she quickly shook her head. Why? Grandma Gu was a little confused. If you find Serena and those children an eyesore, I can tell Nanny Mae to kick them out. Standing at the door, I was suddenly called out, making me roll my eyes helplessly. Percentat, atish percent. Vivian said awkwardly, because I want to sit at the dining table? I snorted, unable to hold back a booming laugh. Under Chairman Gu's gloomy gaze, I pinched my lips with my hand to stop myself from laughing. I bowed my head, thinking of all the sad things in my life. Serena and Ethan Gu had argued. I finished cleaning the room and quickly returned to my room to sleep so as not to disturb the children. Serena was sitting outside, crying as if she had been greatly wronged. Seeing that it was about to rain outside, Ethan Gu, who had been pacing back and forth in the living room, hurried to my room. Nanny Mae, it's about to rain. Take an umbrella out for Mrs. Gu. I hugged my blanket over my head. So annoying, I just closed my eyes. Ethan Gu waved his hand. If Mrs. Gu doesn't come in, you don't need to come in either. You crazy husband. Percent, atish percent. Serena stubbornly sat outside. She believed she was not wrong and insisted on waiting for the tyrannical CEO to apologize to her. But at the same time, the tyrannical CEO also felt she was wrong, so he refused to bow his head. In the pouring rain, I held an umbrella, sitting on the flower bed, shielding her. My face was desperate, repeating mechanically, Mrs. Gu, please come back. Come back, Mrs. Gu. Mrs. Gu, please come back. Serena was stubborn and never turned back. At night, the wind was very cold. Even I, wearing a floral padded jacket, felt cold, so of course, Serena, who was only wearing a tight, high-slit dress showing off her delicate legs, would shiver even more. Soon, her strength gave out and she fainted. Just then, my phone rang. I quickly took it out of my pocket. It was Teacher Nancy calling. If you call, I'll answer. Let's see how much phone credit you have. I answered the tyrannical CEO's call, my voice frantic. Boss Gu, Mrs. Gu has been sitting in the rain for 3 hours. Ethan Gu's voice was both cold and tyrannical. So, is she ready to admit her mistake now? I turned my head to look at Serena, who was unconscious on my lap. No, Mrs. Gu, she fainted. The voice on the other end of the phone paused, then said angrily, Nanny Mae, how do you take care of Mrs. Gu? If anything happens to Mrs. Gu, I'll make you be buried with her. I was so angry I almost spat blood, gnashing my teeth, unable to cry. This lunatic. What does your family's fighting have to do with me? Serena had a fever. When she woke up, she looked at the quilt on the bed and stubbornly refused to lie down. She insisted that from today on, she would break up with the tyrannical CEO Ethan Gu. The tyrannical CEO had no choice but to let her lie in the living room. I angrily pulled out 2 quilts. That night, Dr. Chu and I were busy as hell and were also severely scolded. After Dr. Chu and I were threatened to be buried with her, for the 18th time, Serena's fever finally subsided. The tyrannical CEO cooked a pot of porridge for Serena. Serena sat sipping porridge in the living room, tears welling up in her eyes. Ethan, this is the first time I've felt at home. Woo-woo-woo. Ethan, I'll give you a baby in the future. I leaned against the wall, arms crossed, eyes wide. This crazy woman, look, there isn't even a single pickle. Just a bowl of plain porridge makes her so moved. The two got back together. The tyrannical CEO and Serena walked hand in hand into the bedroom. They looked at the 2 quilts I had made into a bed for them. The tyrannical CEO Ethan Gu held his forehead and gave a bitter laugh. Nanny Mae, you're really something. When I woke up leisurely the next morning, 4 faces identical to Ethan Gu's appeared before me, making me jump in fright. You're awake, the 4 kids said in unison. First of all, thank you, Nanny Mae, for staying with our mom yesterday, but we're still worried about mom being home alone, so we've decided. Hacker Little 1 stated, I'll pause operations to take care of mom. Actor Little 2 stated, I'll pause filming, I'll be in charge of cooking. Venture capitalist Little 3 stated, I'll pause signings, I'll also take care of mom. Boxing champion Little 4 stated, I'll pause training, I'll vent mom's anger. I stood by, trying to persuade them. Those are your grandparents, your blood relatives. Not only that, they also have connections with the underworld. If you go, it'll just be like an egg hitting a rock. Boxing champion Little 4 laughed coldly. If we really want to confront them, skinning them alive is no problem. It is said that the Gu family conglomerate was turned upside down by the kids. All computers were infected with viruses, Several money trees were drenched to death, and hundreds of online marketing accounts simultaneously began extorting Chairman Gu and Mrs. Gu. It was said that the current wife was a mistress who was pregnant and had oppressed the ex-wife Susan and her eldest daughter Vivian. Chairman Gu scolded Ethan Gu thoroughly and spent a lot of money to suppress the news, but public opinion grew increasingly intense. Netizens discovered that Chairman Gu was previously gay. Finally, the Gu-old couple had to shamelessly visit Serena to apologize. Only then did the storm subside. During this time, I introduced several nannies, tutors, and chefs to Ethan Gu. Seeing me crying every day and complaining that I couldn't manage, Ethan Gu planned to find a butler. After this commotion, the Gu-old couple realized that the tyrannical CEO was being ungrateful, so they started creating clone accounts. How do I know this? Of course, because Grandma Gu came to the company I own to order a custom-made, high-end private VIP postpartum care center. It was said that when she registered, she was already 3 months pregnant. The media would surely go digging for rumors. As soon as Grandma Gu's foot left the building, reporters behind her started questioning 2 people on the red carpet at the grand opening ceremony of the hotel where the Gu and Susan families collaborated. I wanted to check if Grandma Gu was pregnant. I was downstairs, enjoying an expensive afternoon tea with Special Assistant Zhang, watching the excitement, and Special Assistant Zhang seemed even more thrilled than I was. She ate cake and told me, "Look, these 2 women are about to fight on stage again." Before she finished speaking, a reporter's voice rang out. "So, Miss Susan, knowing that Mrs. Gu is pregnant, can you offer her some advice? Just some experience in raising children would be great." Susan said coldly, "Of course, if she needs it." Then she glanced at Grandma Gu's belly beside her, sneering twice. "Ah ha ha hum." Grandma Gu, standing nearby, was not a good person either. Dressed in green, she grabbed the microphone and began to exaggerate. "Oh, recently Miss Susan has been drinking sheep placenta extract. Oh, even an experienced teacher like Susan couldn't help but be stunned at this moment, raising an eyebrow and starting to give an awkward smile. Grandma Gu, Special Assistant Zhang, and I said in unison, "Can you say that?" Susan gnashed her teeth and said, "Yes, yes, yes." Special Assistant Zhang and I looked at each other and almost fainted from laughter. Grandma Gu raised an eyebrow and curled her lip. "I think this is exactly the problem I wanted to ask about. Our skin is all wrinkled, so I'm even more concerned about this issue. To see if Miss Susan's sheep placenta extract has any effect, does it plump up the skin?" Susan was a little embarrassed. "Oh no, that's not it. I think it works from the inside out. I think it helps improve immunity." A reporter on the side continued to seize the moment to ask, "Ah, if that's the case, then Miss Susan won't be angry, right?" "No one's angry, so don't be petty," Mrs. Gu said triumphantly, then looked at the subdued Susan and added, "The key is that Miss Susan recently opened a beauty salon and is heavily promoting sheep placenta." Susan remained silent on the side, smiling politely throughout. When the ribbon-cutting ceremony was over, a sharp reporter said, "I heard Mrs. Gu is also about to step into the business world. Does Miss Susan have any advice for her?" Susan immediately retorted, "It's hard to comment. She can only play a decorative role in the business world, so I wish her success." Grandma Gu's face immediately darkened, but she still had to keep smiling at the cameras. The reporter continued to ask, "Some people say that Chairman Gu's household rules are very strict. They say you two are too ostentatious, and even Ethan Gu isn't allowed to sit at the dinner table. Is this true or false? Everyone here, raise your hand if you think this is true." I, Special Assistant Zhang, and Susan immediately raised our hands. Grandma Gu angrily snatched the microphone. "Nanny Mae, Special Assistant Zhang, your salaries this month are gone, your performance bonuses too." Susan took the microphone and calmly said, "Nanny Mae, Special Assistant Zhang, your salaries and performance bonuses this month will be increased tenfold, deducted from my account. Join the successful team, the ex-wife is buying." The storm of the grand opening ceremony ended. On Friday, I wore formal attire, preparing to discuss a big deal with Jane and world-class industry hunters. Jane had warned me 1,000 times, "This is a listed company. The CEO of one of the top 10 companies ranked by Forbes will personally be here to discuss cooperation. You must pay attention." I nodded and went to the hair salon for a striking new look. When we arrived at the Han Palace Hotel, a group of staff lined up, opened the door, and respectfully invited us in. The supervisor respectfully asked us, "Are you guests of Mr. Ah?" I nodded and presented the invitation letter. They became even more respectful and invited us into the elevator to a private room on the top floor. Along the way, all the staff wore luxurious uniforms, respectfully waiting and greeting us. Jane, who was used to grand events, also became tense. They say Mr. O's personality is unstable and he's extremely unapproachable, but he holds half of the top resources. If we can cooperate with him, we won't run out of money for 100 lifetimes. Go in, don't talk nonsense, let alone lie. Mr. O's consultant is a top hacker and has already checked us. Don't anger him. Otherwise, his powerful bodyguard will immediately throw you out and you'll end up getting badly beat. Hearing the staff's introduction, it felt familiar, but it was quickly replaced by anxiety. After all, the success or failure of my company's expansion depended on this. I couldn't help but feel my hands sweat. At this moment, layers of doors like palace gates were being opened one by the waiters. At the third door, a tall, handsome man in a suit and tie stepped out. Damn it, he's so handsome! The cold night rain struck. I immediately recited the secret code. Please enter, esteemed guest. The handsome man opposite said. Jane said, Hello, Mr. Ah. The elegant man opposite said, I am Mr. Ah's butler. Mr. Ah is still waiting for everyone inside. After saying this, he respectfully greeted us. Jane and I looked at each other. Such a young, handsome butler. This mysterious and wealthy man, Mr. Ah, who made all of City A tremble, must have been very handsome in his youth. After entering the room, I saw a small Ethan Goo sitting on the main chair in the middle. Judging from his outfit, it must have been venture capitalist Little 3. Because next to him was a thug, boxing champion Little 4. Next to him was actor Little 2, wearing sunglasses and a mask covering his face. Opposite them, a hacker in a plaid shirt was typing on a computer with an emotionless face. At this moment, all of them looked at me. Venture capitalist Little 3 smiled sinisterly. Nanny Mae and Dad's former fiancé, it's a pleasure to meet you under these circumstances. Please be seated, my esteemed partners. Let's talk about the cooperation plan. Jane's side story, bonus question. I am Nanny Mae, the nanny in the tyrannical CEO story. Today, Chairman Goo, Mrs. Goo, Ethan Goo, Serena, and the 4 adorable genius babies, along with childhood friend Vivian, went to a restaurant for dinner. Chairman Goo asked me to choose a meal that suited everyone's tastes, and he would pay me tenfold my salary. Little 1 said he could only eat spicy food if Little 2 ate cold food. Little 2 said he didn't eat cold food. Little 3 said that when Little 2 didn't eat cold food, he would eat spicy food. Little 4 said that if Little 3 ate spicy food, he would eat sour food. Grandma Goo wanted something sweet, while Grandpa Goo wanted something spicy. The tyrannical CEO wanted food that was both cold and spicy, and Serena wanted something cold and sweet. Serena specifically reminded me that one of them, either her or Ethan Goo, was lying, and she wanted me to figure it out. Serena also said, if I don't eat cold food, I must eat spicy food, not sour food. If I don't eat spicy food, I must eat sweet food. Vivian didn't want to eat the same food as Serena and the 4 children. I'm going crazy, I'm not doing this anymore. Transmigrated into a book to be a nanny, and now I have to take a test too. I cursed furiously in my heart. Just then, venture capitalist Little 3 smiled sinisterly. If Nanny Mae can precisely prepare everyone's tastes, then I'll ask Grandpa and Dad to pay you 5 times your salary each. 10,000, 10,000, 100,000, 10 times over 3 million yuan. I immediately smiled and said, I can do it, I can do it. You're too young to compete with someone who rose from a small town like me. I took a scrap piece of paper and started solving the logic questions. Only if new, pushes from back to front. If then, pushes from front to back. Unless A, then B, is not A if not B. This principle can be listed by the following formula. 1 little 1 eats spicy if Little 2 eats cold. 2 little 2 does not eat cold. 3 little 3, if Little 2 does not eat cold, Little 3 eats spicy. 4 little 4, if Little 3 eats spicy, Little 4 eats sour. 5 if not cold, then spicy, not sour. 6 if not spicy, then sweet. If not B, then not A. This can be obtained by combining 1, 2, 5, and 6, 7. Little 2 does not eat cold. Little 1 does not eat spicy. Little 1 eats sweet. Little 2 eats spicy and does not eat sour. Little 1 eats sweet. Little 2 eats spicy but does not eat cold. Little 3 eats spicy. Little 4 eats sour. 5 can eat sour or spicy. Therefore, the tyrannical CEO eats sour and cold. One of the tyrannical CEO and Serena is lying. So Serena is lying. Therefore, Serena eats hot and not sweet. According to 6, it can be concluded that if not B, then not A, so if not sweet, then spicy. Therefore, Serena eats spicy and hot, but Vivian does not eat the same food as Serena and the 4 children. In other words, Vivian does not eat sweet, does not eat spicy, does not eat hot, and does not eat hot. There is a contradiction between eating hot and not eating hot, meaning Vivian must not eat hot food. Finally, I served spicy hot beef noodles to Chairman Goo, Serena, Little 2, and Little 3. For Grandma Goo and Little 1, a bag of sweet chocolate crispy noodles. As for Little 4, he could only stand in the corner eating beef noodles with pickled radishes soaked in ice water. With a beep, my tenfold salary was credited to my bank card. Each of us wore a satisfied smile. They looked at me and said in unison, "Nanny Mae, you spoil us too much." I held my forehead and gave a bitter laugh. You guys are truly difficult to please.